Yo, YouTube, what's up? For those that don't know me, my name is Te Arai Bryers and I'm a 19-year-old bodybuilder, runner, kickboxer, an MMA fighter and online fitness coach living in Mount Maunganui, New Zealand. And I'm making this long form video for the large majority of you who started recently following me from this reel specifically. And I completely understand. When you follow someone, you know a little bit about them, but you don't know a lot. And this is what this video is for. Because in this video, I'm gonna break down my fitness journey from 2021, when I first started going to the gym, all the way to the current present time. So strap in, get ready, and I'm gonna fully unload. Don't take that the wrong way. First up, 2021. So a lot of people, when it first comes to going to the gym, is they either go by themselves, and that takes a lot of courage to do that, or they go with a friend. And that was me. I had a friend who was 2 years older than me. He introduced me to the idea of going to the gym since he'd been going for a good year or so. And that's where my journey started, in March 2021. Now, as a beginner, my form was absolutely shit, as I'm sure all of you guys can relate to if you've been to the gym or if you've tried any new skill, because with any new skill that you're going to try, you're not going to be the best. And more than likely, you're going to make a fool of yourself, just like I did. So, full transparency. Anyway, for the first 5 to 6 months, I heavily experienced newbie gains. That may have been due to my genetics or the fact I was obsessed with going to the gym. I'm talking going 6, 7, 8 times a week and not actually listening to the fact I needed to have a rest day, because in my mind at that time that just didn't exist. And during that entire time I was gymming alongside my friend, learning techniques, learning form, and by the time I'd been going to the gym for 6 months, I separated with my friend and started doing my own gym sessions. Now mind you, this is in the August time frame. So in New Zealand, where I'm from, that is just at the end of winter and starting to progress into summer. Now at this point I was prepped. I kind of knew what to do when I was in the gym. I was following a simple push-pull legs plus those 2 extra days, and everything seemed to be going well. And that was until December rolled around. Now, for those that don't know, I used to be a hockey player, and during that time I wanted to be one of the best. So that's included going to an athletic focused gym, and not one that is focused around hypertrophy, strength, muscle building, etc. So I was only going 3 days a week, and you can imagine going from 8 to 6 days a week in the gym, going down to 3 times a week doing this athletic training. You would think, oh cool, you're able to just balance them out both, right? Like do 3 days at the gym, 3 days athletics. That wasn't the case. Because at that time I lacked discipline so badly that as soon as I got out of my routine and I didn't actually make an effort to get back into it, I decided to fully drop everything, just do athletic training and focus on hockey. So fast forward from December 2021 all the way to February 2022, just after my birthday. The athletic training had finished since it was only going on during the hockey season. Since it was only going on during the off season of hockey, which for those that don't know, it's the summertime, so in between November all the way to February. And I was left with no strength training whatsoever. Sure, I could have gone back to the gym and I questioned myself why I didn't do that originally. But since I lacked discipline in that sense, as soon as I got out of athletic training, I just wasn't doing anything at all. And around that time, I had my first breakup, which put me into a locked in mode. And when I'm saying locked in, I mean I was locked in. So imagine this, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. on the latest. Those are the times I was waking up. And what I would do before I needed to bike to my dad's and then go to school, I would do an hour of stretching, just an hour of stretching in the yoga room, no reason whatsoever. Then I'll take my pre-workout, do an hour of kickboxing or boxing as I thought I was, because back then I thought I was the man. I thought I knew how to box. I thought I knew how to fight, but everyone gets humbled eventually. And that's coming on later soon. Anyway, and after that hour of boxing, I did my weight sessions. So hour of stretching, hour kickboxing, hour weights. After that was done, we're looking at around 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. I'd bike to my dad's house, which was another 3 kilometers away. Mind you, super duper cold in New Zealand, especially during the winter time. So I was freezing my ass off and went straight to his house, where I had a nutritional breakfast in a way, but I wasn't prioritizing protein in any sense. So after school, I would bike from school all the way back to the gym, do cardio or do some more kickboxing, because again, that's how obsessed I was. I would literally spend all my free time in there just because I wanted to have the best body possible. And we'll get to those reasons in a second. Now, after a few months of this process, I decided I wanted to start documenting my journey. So I started putting some average reels up, like this one, this one, this one, and this one. And for some odd reason, they did so well. I'm talking over 10K views on average. And again, that just boosted my ego even more. So to put it into perspective, I thought I was a man because I was bodybuilding. I was the man because I could fight, quote unquote fight, because all I had done was work on the bag. And guess what? The bag doesn't hit back, and I didn't know that until later. And then I was getting so much social media traction that I thought, holy shit, I'm literally the king. And mind you, I'm 16 at the time. So my ego was through the fucking roof. However, with my posting schedule, I was inconsistent. And what my schedule usually looked like, I would get to school an hour early, sit in my car, I'll listen to songs with Justin Bieber, Nicki Minaj, Jason Derulo, you name it, all the white girl stuff, just to pump me up. And then I would edit a video. And I wasn't posting content consistently, just because I didn't see it as a huge priority at the time. And I didn't take advantage of the fact, me at that age, posting content, waking up that early, and doing all that jazz, I didn't realize how much momentum I had built, and I didn't let that bleed into my content creation. Now we're gonna fast forward from August all the way to November of 2022. And this was probably one of the most monumental events of my life. And it was my first ever Muay Thai class. And to everyone who's ever gone to one of those classes, or you're a fighter who's been fighting their entire life, and you remembered the first class you've ever been in, you know how much you get humbled. Especially if your ego was through the roof like I was, where I thought I was the man on social media, bodybuilding, combat sports. I thought I was the best at all of those at that time. But as soon as I got into that class and I realized, holy shit, I can't actually fight. And it humbled me. It humbled me so badly where I was turning up to that class at least 6 times that week. Now, after discovering my new passion for Muay Thai and wanting to actually prove to myself I was the person who I said I was, so someone that could both bodybuild and fight at the same time, I carried on both training in the gym 6 days a week and doing Muay Thai at least 5 times a week, all the way from November to February. And that's when school started up again. But little did I know that year 12 was my last year in school. And during school, I decided to pursue affiliates marketing for the one and only Andrew Tate. And what that would look like is 3 short form videos every single day, from February all the way to December of 2023. So pretty much a full 11 months. And with introducing this new form of content, I didn't find the time to make content for myself, and therefore my social media began to deteriorate. However, as one identity began to deteriorate, I was forming my other one. People at my school began to recognize me for the gym. People came up to me, they asked for advice on certain things. They had seen my Instagram and they were asking me, hey, what do I do on this day? How do I do my training split? What program should I follow? What do I eat? And I began forming an identity around this popularity that I began to get in person, because again, I wasn't active on social media and a lot of the people that were interacting with me was in person. And to be honest, I loved the attention. I kept saying to myself, holy shit, people actually pay attention to me, and I've actually curated some sources of respect from people I wasn't expecting it from, because I'm sure everyone understands getting something that is really hard to obtain, that gives you respect. And a perfect example of this, and my example in this case, was a good physique. I began to like all the attention I was getting from my peers, from my classmates, and even people online who were still reaching out to me asking for advice. And I let that identity begin to form around me. Throughout school, until June of 2023, I was playing hockey with a group of my friends and I pulled my groin. At first, I didn't think that much of it until I went to the doctors, had them have a look at it, and realized I wouldn't be able to participate in Muay Thai or do any kind of kicking movement for a good 5 months. And me being me, with my newfound identity around fitness and bodybuilding, I knew I needed to keep myself busy in that sense. So I decided, okay, cool, but let's pick up boxing instead. And little did I know that, again, going to that first boxing class and experiencing that environment again for the first time in a new gym, that introduced a whole new aspect of discipline to my life. I found that the boxing gym was a safe space for me, where I had made friends. We could spar each other, we could punch each other in the face and still have a good laugh, because we could all connect over that similar aspect of trying to get better as a boxing athlete. And around September of 2023, after joining the boxing gym for only 1 month, that's when I got hit with the realization that I knew this was going to be my last year in school. And if you've ever separated from your friends for a good while, you get kind of lonely. And that's what happened to me. So after going through my exams and letting summer go through, and mind you, I'm training every single day, bodybuilding, boxing, etc. I started to get more and more lonely, especially as my friends had gone back to school and I was still there by myself at home, working part-time in retail at the time, which I highly disliked. And since I was hit with this lack of attention from everyone around me, because mind you, I was getting all this attention from my peers, current students, and other students around me, and you take away that aspect, this aspect of school, you pull that away from me, and I'm surrounded by not many other people who are actually giving me that attention on a constant basis, You can imagine the cold turkey effect I was feeling, and it really got to my head. But at this point, I decided to drop affiliate marketing. And for those asking how much I made $5. I made $5 over the time period of 11 months, but I also earned a skill that earned me a significant amount of money over the time period of 2024, and that's something I'll speak about soon. So back to my friends and me being alone. With this lack of attention that I was getting, I started having identity issues. I didn't know who I wanted to be, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and me being me, I wanted to figure out exactly what to do so I had a clear route and I could get from point A all the way to point B, and I knew exactly how long it would take. And doing so, I ended up posting a lot more on my Instagram. Now, my Instagram, this is me after not posting on it at all, and I started posting content about a bunch of random stuff, like general self-improvement. I did a little bit of fitness, edits and such, but nothing that really curated an identity around me, especially online. And again, I wasn't being super consistent, but I was expecting something to happen. And to give you guys an average idea on my day-to-day schedule during this time period, what I'd do is wake up at 4 a.m, I would do work, which included a bunch of email outreaching and trying to figure out how the fuck can I make money. And mind you, I'm still going to the gym every single day. I'm still training in boxing 4 or 5 times a week. So I kept that element in my life ubiquitously. But the fact I wasn't succeeding in business was getting to my head and infecting those areas. So I began going to the gym less or being inconsistent, and I felt I was just being lazy. And that was until I got the announcement that I would be able to have my first boxing fight on May 11th, 2024. And having my family and all my friends there from school come watch me and see me succeed in that moment, it was just surreal. However, when there's a high, there has to be a low. And that moment, winning that fight, having my hand raised in that ring, that was my high. And taking that moment away from me and drizzling all the way back down to where I currently was with my usual training regimes and going back to that, I felt like I was missing something. And I decided I wanted to pursue something even bigger. So with that being said, I joined an MMA gym and my current gym, Grappling HQ. And trust me, when I picked up the skill of jiu-jitsu and wrestling and it was first introduced to my life, 6 to 5 days a week, after my first week of training, immersing myself in the different techniques and learning how to actually grapple and roll, because trust me, if you've done it for the first time, it is one of the most discombobulating things I've ever done. Now fast forward to August 2024, so 3 months after joining. I started to notice that my physique wasn't actually progressing nearly as much as I wanted it to. And I didn't realize this at the time, but I was continuously sleep depriving myself with those early morning wake ups. And with that being said, that was the key moment where I realized, okay, I need to stop doing these early wake ups. I need to be getting 7+ hours of sleep. Because mind you, at the time, I was getting 6 to 5 hours of sleep. Since I was so driven by my business and wanting to spend more and more time on it, I didn't realize how much it was exacerbating my results. And it was a good thing I actually made that change. Because in September 2024, I had my first kickboxing fight through Grappling HQ. And mind you, this was probably one of the scariest moments of my life to date, and actually putting myself in an extremely dangerous situation that I wasn't fully accustomed to. And after the 3 rounds, I was exhausted, tired, my leg was sore as shit. But after a split decision, I got my hand raised and took it for the W. But that moment also gave me a bit of a realization on the kind of person I wanted to be. I wanted to be disciplined, I wanted to be motivated, I wanted to be that hard motherfucker that everyone knows about, but also everyone respects. And that gave me an identity on the type of content I wanted to be posting. So I began posting more MMA related stuff, fitness based stuff, since I've delved into that topic so much over the past 2 years. And after dealing with the low views and the low engagement, I started picking up a little bit of traction. And that propelled me to New Year's Eve. Now, Mount Maunganui, New Year's Eve, it is one of the places to be, especially if you're wanting to party, because it is absolutely packed. And I knew that. And from past experience of going out to Mount Maunganui, seeing what it's really like in person, and seeing all the fights that happen, seeing all the drugs, all the alcohol, everyone socializing. Year 10 me would have thought that was awesome. However, I was in a new stage and I wanted to prove that I was different compared to everyone else. So after a long day's work, I decided to put my running shoes on and do my first half marathon into New Year's Eve to show that I was different to everybody else around me. Everyone who was my age, who was drinking, partying. And I understand, you want to loosen up on the occasion. I completely get that. But at that time, I just was not in this mental space to let go and slow down. Because I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted badly, and that was to be someone who everyone respected. And I can't remember how quickly I did it, but I'll post the results right here, and you guys can judge if that was a good time or not for a half marathon. Now 10 days later, after I'd posted up a video sharing my experience of that run, sharing what I'd seen, sharing the people I'd interacted with, it was time for me to go to Thailand for a month. Now I'm not going to share the exact reasons why I was going there, it was just for personal business, but I traveled for the first 5 days with my mother, and then she decided to go back to New Zealand. That left me in a country by myself for 10 days, and if you know Thailand, Thailand is known for one sport in particular, and that is Muay Thai. One of the hardest combat sports when it comes to training, and you already bet your fucking ass I was gonna take advantage of that. So I began training every single day, going to one of the most famous gyms in the world, meeting new people, trying new foods. But one thing I noticed after Thailand was how much it had grown me as a person, because I got to see how other people lived their lives. I got to see how other people worked, I got to see how other people treated each other, I got to see how people treated each other in the training room, and generally just getting a better idea on how the world worked outside of New Zealand. Now, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows as I wish it was. Halfway through, I got a lung infection. Then I also got food poisoning from eating crocodile off the street. Don't ask me questions, it tasted good, I wanted to try it. And then on the last day, when I went to Bangtao MMA, which is arguably the most popular gym in the world when it comes to mixed martial arts, I got staph infection. And I found out on my birthday, so happy birthday to me. But irregardless, I had made so much momentum in posting content consistently while I was in Thailand that I was ready to go when I had gone back from New Zealand. And this is when I had a realization on what I wanted to pursue, which was online fitness coaching. Because back in 2023 and 2024, I didn't realize I was curating a skill that others would kill for, and that is how to get into better shape. And just to put that into perspective, I was posting 2 times or so a week in 2022, and now after getting back from Thailand, I was posting 2 to 3 times a day, and I'm still doing that to date. Now there's also another reason why I decided to train in Thailand, and that was to prepare for my first MMA fight, which happened on March 1st, 2025.
Let's go, here we go, push him up here, boy!
Now I've spoken a lot about the concept of momentum and how much that can affect you and your progress. And this is something I'm starting to see a lot more regularly right now. So after posting consistently in Thailand, after winning my MMA match, after posting 2 to 3 times daily and actually providing value on my Instagram account, I started picking up more and more wins. And as of recently, I'm an NZ Muscle Ambassador, which is something that I was manifesting back in September of 2024, so 5 or so months ago. Now fast forward to today on April 4th. Again, I'm an Indian Muscle Ambassador, and I'm just about to do my first event with them. I posted a reel about me winning my MMA match on YouTube, and that is the main reason I'm actually making this video right now, to actually introduce myself to the 3.3 thousand new subscribers I have. So again, thank you guys for subscribing and actually following along with the journey. Now, if you've gotten to the end of this video, then I just want to say I appreciate you for watching, because I know a lot of people that wouldn't watch, or maybe I've made this video kind of boring in regards to editing styles. So again, that's my fault. And with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Peace.